What's up guys, it's your boy Cielshock from CTUSA Mini 4-wheel drive racing squad, and I'm a teacher here in Noobworx. And before I start my video, I want to say thank you to Yon Clothing. If you guys are interested with a cool hat like this, they also have clothing, jackets, and all streetwears. I have their link at the description below. And also I want to say thank you to Game Buzz and Print Nation for finally releasing my Cielshock band royalty shirt in the Philippines. It's available, and also it's available here in US. Alright, so now we are going to our feature in the video. We're gonna do some testing and review on the thing that I got from the Philippines. It's the Matrixx high-speed racing oil. So I haven't tried this racing oil yet. Somebody want me to test it out, and of course I'm willing and I'm honored to do so. We are gonna try to break in a motor, and we are going to use this to a used motor. And we're gonna check out if we can use it for rollers and gears and other purposes too. So, no more blah blah. Here comes the high-speed Matrixx oil in 2 seconds. Alright guys, so we have our high-speed Matrixx oil over here. This is the high-speed racing oil, 10 milliliters. There you go, 10 milliliters high-speed racing oil. And also you have the refill pack for 30 millimeters. This is made from the Philippines. And also they have this one, the Matrixx Power Cleaner, but that's gonna be a different video. I'm gonna talk about this later. Alright, so we're gonna test this out. What we're gonna do is, I have 4 sets of batteries over here, so you can see they're charging, different kind of voltage. I have an old Hyperdash 2, and it used to have 29 kilometers per hour on the 351 gear ratio. This is Girly's old motor. So we're gonna put it on her AR chassis stock car 351 gear, and we're gonna check out how fast it can go. It haven't been used in a while, no oil, no whatever. So let's see. So you can see it's 156 volts over here. We're using my lacrosse charger Neo Champ. We're gonna test this out, how fast it is. And this is the before using the high-speed Matrixx oil. Alright, let's see. Alright, so let's see. 156 volts, Neo Champ, 32 kilometers per hour. Impressive. It's actually faster than what is written over here from our motor. It's 29 here, and it's a Hyperdash 2. Alright, let's see if we're gonna start dropping this, if there's gonna be changes. And we're gonna use this battery, and we're gonna push it to 1.56. like we had on the last one. Alright, so I'm going to drop some. Let's see how much power it's gonna gain if it's actually a turbo drop. So it could be an alternative to Voodoo. So you can see it's very interesting. It's blue. Alright. It says on the packaging to unleash the power. So let's see if we can unleash the power using this. I think that's enough for the oil. Let's see how many volts we got. 1.56 and 1.54. Hope the other battery will push. I think that should be good, even though it's different. Let's see. Let's see. Let's charge these first. See how much voltage drop it did. 8.5. Okay, it's not pushing anything anymore. Can't wait. Alright, so let's put this Hyperdash 2. See if there's gonna be any changes with these. Check this out. So I intentionally didn't skip anything for this video, so you guys can see I'm not skipping anything. So let's see how much faster this freaking thing goes. Alright, so let's see. Alright, 34. So it definitely gained some top speed. See? That's 34 from 32. So that's 2 kilometers faster. So it actually added a little kick, that's a lower voltage too. Because the batteries are 154 and 156, and the other battery that we used is both 156. So that's great. So we're gonna test another motor. Let's see. I have some old motors over here that I haven't used. I'm getting excited right now. Alright, so what's this? This is an old. Let's see if it actually works though. Let's try this old torque tune motor. If it actually runs. If not, then we can't test it out. Okay, it actually runs. So it says 34. It's pretty old. See, the motor is pretty old. So we're gonna use the one that we were charging. It's at 155 right now. So we're gonna see if there's gonna be improvements. Let's use this 155. No drops, no whatever. So that's a Hyperdash 2 that we used earlier. Let's see. This one. 155 volts. Right. Actually not running no more. So I guess it doesn't run. Alright. I guess that's an old battery. Oh, it's on reverse. Dang, newbie mistake. Ha. So I'm gonna do it that way. Okay. Let's see. 31 kilometers per hour for that torque tune. Alright, so that's 1.55 volts. Now we're waiting until this battery is pushed. It's at 153 and 154 now. And after that, we're gonna test one more motor. And then I think that should be done. Let's see. Originally it's 34 and now it's just 31. It's a lot of dirty stuff in there now. Charge this battery again. Alright. So we're gonna drop some on this torque tune motor. Put some over here too. So what it did to the Hyperdash is I had a little top speed, and that's what Voodoo does. so gives you a little bit more kick. That's why it's called turbo drop. Alright, so the batteries are at 154 and 155 now. So I guess that will be good enough to test this. Let's see how it's gonna perform. Alright, this too. I'm gonna make sure it's the right polarities because I messed up earlier. Alright, let's do this. Alright, let's see. Holy shit. Alright, sorry for my language, but as you can see clearly, it's 36 kilometers per hour. So from 31 kilometers per hour, after using the Matrixx high-speed racing oil, which is my suspicions are right, it's a turbo drop. And it adds 5 kilometers per hour, and initially is 34, so it gained one more. So this is pretty old. As you can see, I haven't used this in a while because this is Girlie's motor, my wife. So she probably took a test and it was 34 when she initially used it, and then she stopped using it and it got old. She's lazy to clean it, so it ends up being 31, and now it's 36 from 34. So that's really a good jump. So I'm pretty amazed. Pretty amazed with this racing oil, and I guess that would be convincing enough from the Hyper Dash 2 and the Torque Tune motor. And some people's gonna ask me if I can use it with other motors. I have tons of motors that I can test, and I'm pretty sure I will have the same results from it. But that's pretty crazy. So that's it for our first test. Our second test is we are going to break in a motor. Alright, so I'm gonna clean my mess over here and I'll be back. Alright. Alright, so I'm gonna break in a motor. I have this Japan Cup 2016 Hyper Dash 3 motor, single shaft. And what will I do is one of my break-in methods, besides the one that I have posted here in YouTube. This one is one of the simplest and one safe way too, which is I run two batteries. I ran two batteries, and then I'll put the motor on the chassis, obviously with a pinion gear. I'm gonna break it in, and then I will do the same process. Like every 1 minute I will drop, and then 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 and 5 I will drop. Instead of using a voodoo oil, we're using Matrixx, and then I'm gonna reverse it using a different chassis, or maybe just reversing the polarities of the battery. Alright, so but first, before I do the break-in process, we're gonna test how fast is the motor from the box. Alright, and then we're gonna test it with the same voltage. Alright, so I have pinion gear over here. Hello, pinion gear. Alright, and we're gonna put it here on the FM chassis. It's actually a 4:1 gear ratio. Alright, and we're gonna check it from 154. See that? 154 volts. Alright, let's see how fast this straight up from the box. Hyper Dash 3. Here we go. Hold up. see. That's 30 kilometers per hour out from the box for 1 gear ratio from a box stock car. Alright, so what I do is I will run this with one of my batteries. My old battery that I use for braking all the time. So that's 1.54 earlier. Alright. And we're gonna do the process that I use with the voodoo oil. There you go. That's in. Matrixx is in, and timer starts now. Alright, so what would I do is I will run this for a minute, and then after a minute, I will drop the Matrixx oil. And then after 2 minutes, I will drop it again. 3 minutes, drop it again. 4 minutes, drop, and then 5 minutes, drop it again. And then after that, I'm going to reverse the polarity or use a different chassis for reversing the motor. So for now, I'm going to go leave this, and then when we get back, we're going to reverse it. Okay? So see you in a bit. Alright, so soon we're going to be on our final drop. Before on our last drop, there will be 5 minutes, and then we're going to reverse it. So right now, it's not as hot as expected. I mean, obviously it's hot, but it's not getting any hotter than I expected. So I guess the coolant works. You can test it yourself if you guys don't believe me. Alright, it's 15. Now this is going to be the final drop, and after 5 minutes, we're going to reverse it. So, as I've said, it's not heating that much. But if you're not convinced, you can try it yourself. I mean, my motors gets really hot if I'm trying to break in the motor. And right now I can touch it. I mean, the fact that I can touch the motor after running it for like quite some time, it's not that hot. So that's good. I guess the cooling substance works. The cooling substance works. So I already dropped 1 after 1 minute, 2 after 2 minutes. Then after 3 minutes, I drop again. 4 after 4 minutes. That's the drop that we just did. So after 5 minutes, we are gonna remove this. Use fresh batteries. And then we are going to put this on my Super 2 chassis so we can actually reverse the polarity without switching up the batteries. I mean, without ruining the terminal. So I will just put it on my Super 2. And we'll go from there. So I'll be right back. Alright, so we have a minute, exactly a minute left before we switch up. And it's still not hot. I mean, obviously it's getting warm, but it's not really that hot, because when I do it, like, sometimes it really burns my hand. So, let's see. Pretty interesting that they found something that they can put to make the hyperdash not really overheat that much, because based on my experience, a hyperdash tends to heat up and overheat when you're doing runs. So pretty nice. It's pretty nice to know. Alright, so that's exactly 1 minute, so we're gonna turn this off. Alright. Ooh, That's soaking up oil. Pretty messy. Alright. Alright. So, where's that? Where's my Super? There you go. So, we're gonna switch it to the Super 2, as I said earlier. Put my Super 2 here. The motor here. And have the gear cover. We're not gonna waste any time no more. And then we're gonna put a drop, more drop. Alright, it's already in. And we're using this full battery right here. Okay. So we're gonna do the same way, it's just reversed. Oh, my terminals are messing up. There you go. Oh, my terminals are messed up. There you go. Alright, so after a minute, we're gonna drop one more time. And then after 2, drop more Matrixx. After 3, after 4, and then after 5. And then after 5 minutes, we're going to, for the last drop, we are going to clean it. We're not gonna use this. We're just gonna use my power shot, because that's what I usually do. And then we'll move on from there. Alright, so I'll be right back. Alright, so we are approaching to our final drop. So we already did all the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th drop. So we're just going to do the final drop after this. Alright, so there you go. It's going to be exactly 5 minutes before we stop this. Alright, so we just did our final drop, and now we're gonna test one thing. I usually use my voodoo oil on my rollers. As you can see, these rollers are dirty, and they're kinda not spinning that well. So, we are actually gonna try it. So, voodoo oil, just a brief history, brief trivia. Voodoo oil is a contact cleaner. It's a calm drop, and it actually works on my gears. And it works on bearings when they're dirty, so it actually cleans and stuff. And also, it gives you a kick for a boost for your motors. So now we already know that this Matrixx oil can rejuvenate an old motor, give some more top speed. So it gives that kick. And now we're trying to see if it's actually good for breaking in some motors. But now we're gonna check it on the rollers. So let's see. Let's see how the Matrixx does. So I'm putting some over there. I'm putting some over here. That's how I put my stuff. I go up and under. As you can see, we're doing 2 testings in one right here. Alright. Alright, so it's not getting any smoother like compared to the voodoo oil. So I guess doesn't make the rollers spin faster compared to the voodoo oil. So let's see this one. See the bottom. There you go. Kind of fish faster over there. Must be my spacers. But put some more. Alright, so I'm gonna do an honest review. I guess it doesn't work that well. on rollers and bearings, because it seems like whatever is in here doesn't clean the bearings as the Voodoo does. I mean, it adds lubrication. I mean, it's in there. See, this front one is running really smooth. Front rollers right here. This front one is not. So let's see. One more try. One more try. I mean, it lubricates it. I just don't see it. I just don't see it working like the Voodoo oil on rollers. So, I mean, it smoothens a little bit. So it's probably the grease and the gunks over there. But it's not the same as Voodoo. So even how much I put in there, it doesn't work like Voodoo oil. Alright, so now we know when it comes to the rollers. Plastic rollers too, let's see if it works with plastic rollers. Yeah, because if it's a Voodoo oil, this would be spinning already. So, I guess not. Just for motors then. Okay, so we have 3 seconds. And we're going to be exactly 5 minutes. And we're shutting this down. Alright, so we're done. We done. Right. We are going to clean this. Ooh, a lot of stuff. Alright. Alright, power shot. So I use power shot all the time. I use this for cleaning some gunks and stuff. I don't have my straw, so I'm just gonna use this directly inside. Power shot is a form of contact cleaner if you have other stuff to clean. Alright, so you can see there's all the carbon buildup. Oh, that's a lot of carbon. Alright, I gotta spray more. Oof. See that? All that carbon right there from the break-in process. Alright. That's a lot of carbon. Alright, so what I do is I do this. So it removes the rest. It's a lot of carbon buildup over there. I wish I have my straw, so this will be better and easier. Ooh, there you go. There's all the carbon. Alright, just want to make sure it's all dry. So when we use it, when we put the drop again, there will be no more contact cleaner inside. Alright. Alright, that should be good. Alright, so we're gonna push this battery to 150, 154, I think. That's what we did earlier. And then we're gonna put it to the FM chassis with a 4:1 gear ratio. and we'll see if there's any changes from 30 kilometers per hour. Let's see if it did break in. Alright, that's 1.48. That's gonna take a little while, so I can still click more. I think I can get this. There's nothing much coming out anymore. Guess that's it, huh? Power shot did good. So just a reminder, guys, when you're braking the motor, obviously there's gonna be carbon over there, and you guys are wondering, maybe you guys are wondering the break-in process that I did, because I didn't use a slave motor. That's another way of how to break in a motor. There's a lot of ways out there. I only have one in YouTube, and this would be the second one. But there's a lot of ways. Everybody have their different style, their different ways. This is one of my ways of breaking in some motors. Alright. It should be good over there. Nothing's coming out anymore. It's pretty dry. Alright. Let's see. I do this so I'm gonna make sure it gets dry inside. So I spin it this way. Alright, so that's 1.52. Still waiting. We'll push to 1.54. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna charge another battery. Maybe this can push to 1.54 instead of waiting that long. Alright. Alright, so people might be wondering too, because I get some messages. This is a Lacrosse BC 100, I think. This is what I use for races sometimes. But I use the Sky RZ too, and I will have a review on that. Alright, I'm pretty excited in this one. Come on, battery, work with me. Alright, so here is it. As you can see, it's 4:1 gear ratio. Nothing has changed. I'm putting in this FM chassis. Come on, the pinion gear broke. It slide all the way. Oh, the pinion gear actually moved all the way down. There you go. So that's one bummer right there, that it didn't make my rollers spin faster, or it got clean like the voodoo oil. But we'll see. Alright, 153 should be good, because earlier it's 154. Alright. We're putting more Matrixx here. Oh my god. Kill that oil. Alright. So we're putting more right here. After we clean it, obviously. There you go. That should be good. Putting it back to the FM chassis. Let's see. From 30 kilometers per hour. How fast? Yeah. Alright, 1.53 volts. Moment of truth. Hang tight, guys. Let's see. Terminals. I actually put the battery wrong. Let's see how we can fix this. Alright. Here we go. How come it's not working? Let's see if I inserted the... Oh, there's no terminal. See? I'm not cheating or whatever in this one. Because some people may think I'm changing the motor, switching it up. Alright, so there's the terminal. No edits. No edits. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Terminals are all lined up. There's nothing can stop us now. Oops, that's on. Do this. Alright, let's see. So initially earlier it's 1.54, I think, or I don't know if it's 1.57, but it's 1.54. We got 33 kilometers per hour, so it broke in. Alright, that's pretty awesome. So it's not just it revives your motor, it also breaks in your motor. Pretty nice. And that's 153. We're gonna try 154 now. Let's see if we can push more and we can go faster. But that's pretty awesome that you can use it to break in too. Alright, so just to be fair, it was 154 earlier for 1.54 volts when we tested from the box. Now it's 1.54 volts after breaking in, and it adds up 4 kilometers per hour. I'm pretty sure I can still push it if I change the gear ratio, because this is only a 4:1 gear ratio. Alright, so we are done on our test. So, to sum it up, I guess I can use this one test too. I guess I can use it on the gears. There you go. But I used it on the rollers before. Alright, so I'm gonna tell you guys my observation on this test. Alright, you guys have to take note of this one. First, I cleaned some motors, old motors. So my old torque tune and my old Hyper Dash 2 motor was revived, as you can see earlier. So you can use this to reviving your old used motors, dirty, unclean motors, in emergency purposes when you're racing, or if you have an old motor that it's not too fast anymore. This can get the job done. It can help revive it. 2, it's also a turbo drop. So used motors that you want to use when racing and you want to give a little more kick and more top speed, it makes the motor faster and add more top speed. 3, you can also use it to break in some motors, like just what we did, and it adds up 4 kilometers per hour. I'm pretty sure in every motor it would be a different scenario, and if I pushed it to a higher voltage on the batteries, that will be a different scenario too. It could be faster. Alright, and then also what I observe with this oil, the motor doesn't overheat. So it gets warm obviously, but the motor doesn't overheat, because the reason why I use a slave motor when I was breaking in some motors before is I don't want the motor to be super hot when I'm running batteries on it. That's why I use a slave motor. So even though a stock motor burns, it don't matter because it's not expensive and it's pretty much disposable. So that's one good thing. It doesn't overheat. And also, because it doesn't overheat, what I've noticed is it doesn't dry out as much. So I could probably use a different break-in method instead of dropping it every 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and 5 minutes on the break-in process, because it doesn't dry out. So as I can, in my observation, it doesn't dry out like the voodoo oil. I mean, eventually it's gonna dries out, but it doesn't dries out as quick as the voodoo oil. So whoever made this, kudos to you. You'll figure out that it doesn't dry out that much. And also, because it doesn't dry out as much, I can use it on my gears. So I want my oil or my my grease on my gears as thin as possible, and I don't want it to dry out quick because I don't want to keep on putting grease or any oil on my grease, so on my gears. So that would be a good thing too. So I can use this on my gears and not worrying drying out for the whole race, because it stays on the motor and it stays on the gears, obviously. Only one thing that I think that's one downside of it compared to the voodoo oil is it doesn't clean my bearings. It doesn't. I swear it doesn't, because if I drop a voodoo oil right now, this will spin crazy. And I know it's dirty and it's not on its ideal condition, but voodoo oil, when I use it, it cleans my roller bearings. So if you are using it for motors, obviously it's a yes for me. Gears, yes. And there's nothing I can say. Like, you guys already seen it. I used it on old motors and I break in a motor. So that's one thing. If you guys are not gonna believe, if you're not convinced about my review, you can hit dislike or you can test it yourself, because the motor doesn't really overheat. That's one thing that amazed me. And it works like a voodoo oil and it's very cheap. And you guys can hit up Matrixx Matrixx high-speed racing oil page. They have a page and I will write it on the description below on this video. And you can order it from him and from them. And there's nothing I can say more. I mean, there's the QR code. If you can use your iPhone, that will actually go directly to the page, I think. And it's available in the Philippines. And the prices, I will not declare the prices because it's their declaration. But I just happened to test it, and I think it's a good alternative. Alternative if the voodoo oil is not available in your area, because the shipping and the tax that people pay makes the voodoo oil pricey. People are not overpricing the voodoo oil because it's in demand. They're kind of pricey because of all the shipping fees and the tax fees transferring it to your country, because it's only available here in the US. I'm lucky because I'm here in the US, but now that this is the Matrixx high-speed racing oil, works like a voodoo oil too and could be better. I know there's like pros and cons, but this could be a good alternative. And for the price, it would be way cheaper than the one that you get over there just to grab some voodoo oil. Alright, so this is Cielshock from CTUSA Mini 4-Wheel Drive Racing Squad, and I'm a teacher here in Noobworx. And hopefully you guys learned something. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like. Always race humble. Peace.